Hi everybody, my name is Olivia Kudanitz, and this is Phil, and you're watching Jobs in Showbiz. How are you today?
Good.
We have a gaffer in the house, which just means he does lighting. So that's the electrical department in the film and television world. So Phil here is part of IATSE 873, which is a union for those who don't know. I'll be sure to reference everything. And he's worked on shows such as Mean Girls, which is one of my favorites, The Time Traveler's Wife, Incredible Hulk, The Girlfriend Experience. I mean, I could go on, but I'll just leave his IMDb link in the description box because we only have a little bit of time. Since you've worked on so many hit shows, have you ever had any special requests, say, from actors that only want to be lit a certain way? Or crew members that want you to light their house or anything?
Oh,
crazy
absolutely.
in that
All
sense?
the time, especially with you know, actresses. We get a lot of requests for specific beauty lighting, softness, things that have to do with either their skin tone or imperfections, things like that. We also get a lot of requests for like on-set requests, power requests for weird things for actors on their trailers.
Really?
Air conditioners. Oh yeah, it goes on and on sometimes. As far as houses, I've had the odd question here and there where they ask me about landscape lighting or stuff like that, but I've never actually gone out and done it.
Because that's something I think I'll be calling on you at some point.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Phil has worked in the business for about 20 years, is that correct?
Yeah, approximately.
He started out as a rigging gaffer, and now you're the gaffer.
Yep.
And although you didn't initially see yourself being in this position when you were younger, why do you think you've been brought to this path of life?
I've always had a thing for, you know, being a leader in a sense. So as the gaffer, you're the head of department, so it takes a lot of leadership and lead by example, things like that. But I've always had an interest in the technical side of any level of entertainment. When I was a kid, I'd go see a show or something, and I instead of focusing on what was going on stage, I was more interested in what was going on around it to create that
The
that
ambience.
look.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it was kind of a natural path. I just kind of kept following it. One step led to another, and you know, lighting was kind of the route I took.
Yeah, and the aesthetics of it all, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for making us look so good today.
Oh, no problem.
So now Phil's going to show us a basic lighting technique, which is called three-point lighting.
Yeah, basic three-point lighting setup with one subject.
So now we're here with our first lighting setup, so let's see what Phil has to say.
Well, we'll start off with any three-point lighting setup. You always start with your key light. For the sake of how you're looking at us, we'll say that the camera axis is to my left here. So I would always start with, you know, based on a part of a hair or something. It could be a multitude of things. It could either go right or left. For the purposes of this, we'll stay to the right of the axis, which we'll use this lamp, which is just a 1K area. It's your main light, it's your key light, it's your most dramatic light. It's what creates your shadows on the one side of the face. This is what you start with. So I've had the guys set up a few things here. And
yeah, let's turn it.
we'll start with this one.
So this is the brightest light.
This should always be your brightest. It's your key. It's your key light.
Is it the closest to you too?
Not necessarily. It should always be, depending on what the drama you want on the face is or on the subject. It could be closer to camera. It could be more side light. It could be higher. It could be lower. It's all depending on what the mood you're trying to set is, whether it's drama or romance or
what do we have today?
A lot of things that
a little
affect
mixture
it.
of both.
But for a general interview style kind of setup like this, it's usually, you know, head height, create a nice little drama on the face as far as a little bit of texture and shadow.
For sure. All right, let's go on to light number 2. So here we are. Tell us about this one.
Well, this would be light number 2. I would usually go next to the fill light, which is to fill in a little bit. So you've got, this one's usually to your left side, camera left of the axis. So there is situations where you wouldn't use a fill light if it's more of a horror situation and you're trying to create a silhouette or a very dramatic shadow on one dark side of the face. But for this purposes of this and most three-point lighting setups, you put in a fill light. It's usually your medium intensity light, and it basically just lifts up the one shadow side, just enough to, you know, make it look more even.
Because if we only had a key light, then one side would
Would
just
go
be,
totally dark.
Yeah, so this is to help you guys out on the other side. All right, and the grand finale for our third light.
So our third light is your backlight. The backlight is purpose of that light is to make the subject look not so two-dimensional.
Right.
Separates them from the dark background. Creates a bit of, it could, depending on how you position it, it basically gives you a little bit of a glow around the realm of the head.
Everyone loves those halos,
yes.
right?
Or if you pull it to the side, it could also pick up a little bit of the cheek and give it, then it becomes a backlight slash kicker.
Right.
It just creates a little more drama.
Awesome. So those are your 3 set of lights. You have your key light, your fill light, and your backlight.
That's it.
Or hair light. Here you guys go. And what is something that you take with you on set? Like, what tools do you require on an everyday basis?
For me as the gaffer, I'm not like my technician. I don't carry all the regular technician tools. It's more about, my walkie, my meter, depending on the DP I'm working for. Nowadays with the digital photography, most DPs don't meter anymore. So that's typically what I carry. I have a laser pointer to show the guys at night where to put things.
In the scene?
Yeah, basically like that.
And that?
Oh, and this is, I use this to look at the sun. It's basically a 1.2 ND glass in there. And I use it with my sunglasses so I don't burn out my retinas when I'm trying to see the clouds.
You want to preserve those eyeballs.
Absolutely.
And before I let you go, Phil, if there was another job you could do on set, what would it be and why?
One day shoot my own stuff as a DP.
For sure. Well, you've set it up nicely for us.
Yeah, that's
so.
pretty much what I'd like to do. This is what I love to. I love my job, and if I stayed as a gaffer for the rest of my career or in any aspect of lighting, I'd be pretty happy.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you guys next week.